and then wake up, go to work, drive their Prius, drive their vehicle environmentally and climate friendly, and ride their van, taking possessions from place to sector, removing the trash and allowing a knee, a knuckle, to pop. They use their energy. They use their ability. And they're unstoppable. Unflinchingly. And unfortunately, the ruler. They're the owner of the place you've got to beg for now in Seattle, Washington. You got to plead for on an application to get to Capitol Hill, where you've got to endure the revolution and bow to the freaking ground and plead on a knee for the Antifa-loving Black Lives Matters woman's softness, to make their men so freaking prideful, so racially and ethnically diverse. They share conversation, and they make poetry, and they make paintings, and they draw on walls where they sell products to keep their family from going hungry. They shut down streets and they block off walkways. They put couches on the freaking concrete. They lounge and they carry rifles. They walk with their keys dangling. They stick their knives on their hip. They carry their cellular device technology phone to report the person who doesn't agree and doesn't want to live in their simulation, doesn't want to go jump around on their video game screen, television monitor, where they have surveillance for every single part of their mind. And joyfully explain what's happening now. And how awesome the takeover has been. And how awful those who finally gave up and died and forsaken. The mix from their electronics, ambient, accent, in other words, remove, replace, destroy, and eliminate, and make all except great. Proud and free except, and especially not, great freedom. To say the word G and to spell the letters that say the sound, not okay. But to say to the woman, but to speak out to affinity, and to believe infinity has to do with that dick you put in her cunt and that lick you give on her crotch. That neutral glance you give to your boyfriend's lover's aunt's ear lobe. Pierced. To describe the inhumanity to eat a hamburger and enjoy a meal. Telling the poor to care for your loved one and baby and your children who you give up for adoption when you get divorced from the legal marriage you have in this great nation denounced as capitalism, a false idea in the ideology and the philosophy of your knowledge and creepiness. Now, it's nearly 4 o'clock on a Monday in July. Normally the Mariners would be on the TV and there'd be cars, there'd be trucks, there'd be businesses to go spend money. But now, there's money waiting to be given to the provider. There's dollars and there's cents sitting quietly, silently, ready to pay the bills needed to not have to go sit next to some drug addict in some shelter who's loving meth, drinking their crack in their pipe with their weed and their tobacco. caused by the person in charge the person who says a word out loud has no value. And should be disregarded and eventually thrown in the garbage when they do not adhere to this new found glory. In the world. Now, in between Canada and Venezuela and Mexico and South America, and just similar enough to say out loud, right in between China and Russia, Europe, New Zealand and Australia, the forest where they hunt their wife and find their mate, the canyons and the mountains where they walk over and down. To let their spirit and their soul get out and explore their wilderness. Now, I used to dream of being in the Navy. My friend Chuck, from the Gulf War, who served on ships, bombing the land while the soldiers went and fought. And his wife Olga, who was called Orca, from LA. She was in gangs. He was a sailor. And they taught me about limits. They took care of me when my parents got divorced and treated me and my girlfriend better than an animal, better than a little dog, better than a companion. They took me out, had me over, cheered me on, and said, go to school, be an officer. They never punished me. They never said, you're so freaking wrong. And you need so much work to figure out what you're saying. You should go somewhere where you can be locked up, where you can be afraid and you can be filled with scared, fear, and raw emotion. And then the planes hit the towers on September 11th in 2001. And now, the coronavirus in 2020. Now,